man to beat. He is down to the 20, down to the 10, and into the end zone. Give to the outside, and that is a touchdown.
Well, welcome to Gas City, Indiana, and Mississinewa High School for the Grant County High School Football Game of the Week here on WIWU TV. I'm Roger Alcock, along with my partner Ron Vermillion. And Ron, it's a hot night here in mid-September in Gas City. This weather's going to be a factor today.
Definitely going to be a factor up until this week. Everybody knows we've had some really nice fall weather coming through summer. Well, as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, it's now fall, and we've got summer weather. So it's in the 90s. We've had a little bit of a thunderstorm here prior to us coming on, so it could be really interesting. The fireworks could not be just out on the field, but also up in the sky.
Well, I just, as a point of reference, talking to Coach Eric Richards, one of the assistant coaches from Mississinewa, he said earlier today on the field it was over 100 degrees. But let's talk about this Mississinewa team. Boy, they are very highly potent offense led by Cade McClung, their quarterback.
They lost maybe the game of the week last week that we did to Eastbrook, but certainly with Heisman Skeens and McCoy, and we thought maybe McCoy wasn't going to play from last week, but he is playing this week. And certainly Kyler Funk, who we didn't really mention in pregame last week, but is the leading tackler on this team and also happens to be the coach's son. Those three guys are going to lead this team. For Madison-Grant, well, they're 0-5. I talked to Coach Kyle Boer before the game. He says we get better every week. He says that's all I can tell you. And he's got 5 kids that are on injured reserve. Well,
indeed, it will be Mississinewa and Madison-Grant, the Argyles here from Gas City, Charlie Fisher Field, Mississinewa High School. Don't go and come back. We'll have the kickoff right here on WIWU TV.
Time. They say it flies, but in some places it can stand still. Here, 2 grand hotels seem to whisper tales of splendor and enchantment from bygone days, where memories are made, romance is rekindled. French Lick Resort, traditions live here. That's honest-to-goodness Indiana. Plan your getaway at visitindiana.com/historic.
Step drop. Look at this, complete. That's Xavier Fuller. Touchdown, Marion Giant.
He's gone.
And he is across midfield. One man to beat, and he's beat him down to the 20, 10, and he is.
Hey.
Welcome back to Gas City, Indiana, and Mississinewa High School. We're ready to kick this one off. Mississinewa, Ron, won the toss, and they have elected to receive the opening kickoff here. And so they want to get the football back first and get their offense on the field as soon as they can. You know they're just itching and biting at the bit to get on the field and make something happen. We talked to some of the coaches before the game. They're all due respect to Eastbrook. I didn't hear any negative towards Eastbrook, but they really felt, boy, they just shot themselves in the foot with turnovers last year, and they want to right the ship here right off the bat.
5 turnovers and 4 in the first half, 4 inside the 20 in the first half with Eastbrook. So, yeah, this is something they've got to prove, and I think they've worked all week to make sure that they hang on to the ball.
Well, our third man tonight down on the field is the hammer, Jalen Lindsay. We're going to send that down to the field and check in with Jalen.
Hey, Roger, it's a hot one tonight, so it should be interesting to see how the players respond to that. As well, I talked to Coach Richards, and he told me that to ensure that they will not have 5 turnovers this week, they ran a lot for conditioning and as well as self-control. Back to you, Roger.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it, Ron, as a coach? If you have 5 turnovers, it's not going to be a fun week of practice.
You drive it into their head by making them run, that they're not going to have turnovers. That's the first thing. Second thing, and I think the biggest thing he said was it's a hot one here.
Yeah.
It is in the 90 degrees. They're going to have to take some weather timeouts here. We had a rain thunderstorm before this game started.
Yeah.
So the weather's going to have a lot to do with this game, but make no mistake, Mississinewa is looking to come out and make it a fast track.
Well, toe meets leather as Gage Davis gets a hold of this one, sends it down to the 20-yard line, and we're underway with the return here. Is that Campbell? He has it at near midfield. He could go. He's got
Johnson.
blockers, and he's gone. The 30, the 20, the 10, and touchdown, Cade Campbell.
Cade Campbell, he gets it. We'll probably see this. But what a way to start a game as you come out. We saw a very good specialty team last week against Eastbrook. This time they took it all the way to the house on the very first play, the kickoff, as Campbell scores the touchdown. Now they're going for that extra point. And what we talk about, a fast track, it is a very fast track. 11:45, 15 seconds gone in this game, and Mississinewa scores.
It's 6-0 Indians. Extra point to come. The kick is up. It is good. And just like that, the Indians are on top by a score of 7-0. And we take a look at the replay.
He makes a nice move out here to come out to the outside. He eludes the one with a nice move. He's got blockers down the way, and Cade Campbell takes that some 75, I think we're going to call it 75 yards for a touchdown. Mississinewa leads with 15 seconds gone, 7-0.
Well, about the last thing in the world you wanted if you're Madison-Grant is to get behind. Obviously, we know they're coming in this game. Their struggle on offense and struggle to get points, and of course, they don't want to fall behind.
No, and we talked. I talked to Kyle Boer, a former guy I used to coach with at Marion, and former player at Marion. He and Eddie Cruz are there coaching, and he said, we're getting better every week. We're just not good enough to stop any team yet. 316 points they've given up in 5 games. Now another 7.
Was not really a squib kick on purpose, but a slip and fall right there is from the kicker, and the return comes out to about the 36, 37-yard line. That's where Madison-Grant will set up their first possession. And Ron, when you're struggling like Madison-Grant, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week in our coaches meeting, but just trying to find little wins within the ball game.
Got to find leadership. And Dylan Brooks comes out. He's 5'10", 170-pound junior, and he leads this team at quarterback. We come out, and what we're going to see is a little bit of a tight formation.
Brooks on the rollout, has a little time. He's going to dump it across the middle, and it's incomplete. I say the middle is actually down that seam. His intended receiver was Tyron Rodabaugh. Rodabaugh, one of the few seniors on this Madison-Grant team that's healthy and dressed tonight.
Maybe the only senior that we see out here. I think Coach Boer told me that he had one healthy senior and one that was on the injured reserve. And now we saw him come out, and we kind of expected him to run a little bit, came out passing. They're running a double wing and with a single back.
Once again, in motion. The inside handoff up the gut. On the carry that time was Alex Webb, the 5'11", 170-pound junior. Webb with his first carry, and he gets it out to about the 38-yard line, a pickup of 2 yards on that, so it'll make it a 3rd down and 8 for the Argyles.
Straight ahead dive, and I believe that they do have the option to pull or give, and he gave that time. Webb plays that fullback spot.
Here's the snap, the handoff to the end round. Hey, big hole there. Fighting his way for the first down, and it is indeed a Madison-Grant pickup of a first down on that big 3rd down play.
They bring him off on the counter. I think it was Randall Fultz carrying. And he got the corner turn, got it straight up. A first down as Madison-Grant comes out here. They throw the first down. But last two, they've really run the ball well against this Mississinewa